What's up, everybody? Fred Richani, TSC. We have right here on the line a very special guest. He is a legendary safety for the Carolina Panthers. He is now a man that people are calling Coach Mike Minter of Campbell University. Sir, how's it going?
It's going good, Fred. Thanks for having me on the show, buddy.
Hey, appreciate taking the time to do this. I know you're a pretty busy guy, and you're somebody that's been a head football coach for quite some time now for Campbell University, but you weren't always looking to be a coach. You retired. You took a hiatus for a little while from football, and now you're back on the coaching front these last few years. What made you decide to, get back that close to the football field?
Wow. I think it just happened. Like you said, when I was playing for the Panthers, I coaching wasn't in my end game. I went into business. And I started doing that. And as I was building my companies, one of my friends that my younger son grew up with, his son, became an athletic director at a private school in Charlotte, the high school. And he asked me to come over to help build their program, their football program. And I was like, yeah, I got some time to do that. And so when I came over, the head football coach resigned after that school year, and so we didn't have a coach, and they was like, all right, do you want to take it? And I was like, okay, I will. And so I took it. It's June. We start training camp in August. I know absolutely nothing about high school football at the time. When I came through high school, we was running the I formation. When I was at Nebraska, we doing the triple option, not the I. And then when I get to the NFL, of course, you're not running any of those type of offenses. And so I didn't understand the spread offense at the time. So I had to do a crash course in 30 days to figure out what in the world is spread football so I can teach these guys, how to play this game. And, 3 years later, we went to 3 straight state championships. We won 2 of them. And what I realized is, that's my gift. My gift is being able to unlock the greatness in young men and get them to go beyond where they ever thought that they can go. And so at the time I said, man, you know what? This high school thing was fun. I want to be able to challenge myself a little bit more. I'm going to give myself, 3, 5 years to become a head coach at Division I school, and I did it in 2 years. And Campbell called, and I became a head coach. And so really, it's my calling. I'm a teacher. I'm a guy. I was like that as a player. I was always a captain of the teams that I've always played on, from Little League all the way up to the National Football League. And so that was something that I was capable of doing, of taking complex situations and making them very simple for people to understand. And that's what I'm doing as a college head coach. One of the things that I said to myself is I wanted to take on the worst college football team that I can find. And when I got the job at Campbell, they was dead last in Division I football. So when you talk about FCS football, they was dead last. And so now, to look at us, years later, now to be a winning football program, it's just been really fun to build that organization.
I would imagine going from player to coach is a big transition. For you, when you were a player and now being a coach, what do you think is the biggest misconception you had back before you started coaching?
Well, that everybody thinks like you. I think that's the biggest thing that you come up against is okay, everybody is going to be able to, consume information, break down information, and then go perform what that information is given. Especially being at the places I've been. In high school, we was a very, highly touted high school with a lot of talent from our high school. At one time in the National Football League, we had more guys in the National Football League from my high school than anybody else in the country. So you come from that, and then you go to Nebraska, okay, where we win 2 national championships back to back, played in 3, only lost 3 games in the 4 years that I was there. You look at that and you say, okay, again, that's how it's supposed to be. And then, of course, in the National Football League, everybody is at that level. And so you just assume that everybody is going to be there. Now, you don't assume that the players is going to be there because they're too young. But what you assume is that the coaches is going to be there. They're going to understand what it takes to become a champion. And so you just kind of start teaching and coaching the players. And what you got to realize as a head coach is you got to coach your coaches. They have to be on the same page. Not only your coaches, but your support staff, everybody that's outside of the football, your academic people, your strength and conditioning coach, your athletic trainers. Everybody has to be on the same page. Your boosters, across the street, the administration, and, your president, your athletic director, the community. You have to teach all those people to get on the same page. And I think that was probably the biggest misconception, was I was just going to be able to do like I did in high school, just teach the player to go do it. I mean, it's much more complex than that.
Now, being a coach is pretty hard. I would imagine being a team captain is pretty hard too, especially when you get to the NFL level, because let's face it, I'm sure a lot of players like yourself have respect for the coaches that you had, but when you're making a whole lot of money and you're one of the top stars and most well-known stars of a respective team, it's hard sometimes to get that message across, especially when you're the one, kind of, I don't say policing, but kind of being the leader of the men in the locker room. Did you face similar challenges being a captain in the Panthers locker room?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you listen, in football, as a player, it's about what you can do. So if you're going on the football field and you're producing, then people are going to pay attention to you. And that's really what happens in the National Football League. Sometimes, a guy that's producing, a guy that's getting paid, people are going to respect what he has to say, but he's not a leader. and that's when you get in trouble, is when, that happens. So the best football teams are the teams that the best players are the leaders of the football team the right way. And I think that's really what happened, in the National Football League. But, of course, again, you're going to have, young guys come in. They're going to think that, maybe they first-round picks. Maybe they just got paid in their second contract, so they're going to really feel like they know what's going on when they really don't. And, so the great thing is, man, is that when you're a leader and as a player, you better be producing at a high level, because if you're doing that, then people will pay attention. And then also how you live outside of football. I think that carries a lot of weight too, because if, you out there doing crazy stuff and then try to come into the locker room, even though you're a baller, and you try to come into the locker room to lead other men, they're not going to follow that because they see you out there in your life outside of football, and it's not lining up. And so, as a leader, man, you have to always be consistent in every area of your life to be able to be a leader in that locker room. And that's tough because you got a lot of stuff coming at you. You're young, got a lot of money. And so I took it serious because all I ever wanted was to win. that was my number one thing as a player, and I think everybody else understood that. And if you wasn't willing to lay it on the line to win, then I didn't want to play with you. And, and it was very, very clear on how I felt about you if you were that type of guy. Now, if you came in and you was ready to go and give everything you had for us to win games, man, hey, look, we're going to get along, and I'm going to be able to impart some of the wisdom that I gained over the years with the different guys that I played with. And so, sometimes it's tough, but at the end of the day, I think your reputation precedes itself.
And you're certainly a leader. You played with some real leaders on that Carolina Panthers team back in the day, especially the one that made that Super Bowl run. And a couple seasons before that, some younger fans may not remember, you guys were 1-15. and I want people that are Browns fans or fans of teams that right now are down on their luck to realize this. You guys, 2 seasons prior, I think in 2001, were 1-15. Yeah. 2 seasons later, you were in the Super Bowl and a couple plays away from defeating Tom Brady and the New England Patriots dynasty. What kind of mental fortitude? What kind of skills did you guys need to put together in order to make that kind of turnaround? Is it just as simple as, hey, we're doing things the right way and it eventually pays off? I mean, what other intangibles are there? Because, I mean, go from dead last to one of the best, I mean, that's insane for any team in any sport.
No, and to do it in 2 years, to your point, well, it starts at the top. And so when Mr. Richardson made the change to bring John Fox in, that was the start of it. It wasn't necessarily the players, because we was already there with the 1-15, and I'm talking about the core guys was already there at 1-15. So we knew what that felt like to lose 15 games in a row. What Coach Fox came in is he showed us how to work towards being champions. Now, we already had the mindset. We just needed a leader. Before that, we had George Seifert, and I think what Seifert's problem was is that he was given, when he became a head coach, he was given a program that was already built. And all he had to do is just keep it in line, right? So he already had the Jerry Rices of the world, the Joe Montanas of the world, the Ronnie Lotts of the world. So he already had those in place because it was built by the previous coach. And so now all he has to do is just stay out the way. Well, when you come to the Carolina Panthers, that doesn't work. You have to build us to be those type of people to get us to where we need to get to, okay? And so the culture wasn't built there, and he didn't know how to build it there. He tried to we tried to go the free agents route. We tried to get old free agents, blah blah blah. But again, they wasn't his guys. So we went through every old free agent that was a great came through during that time with Seifert, and then now Coach Fox come in. He said, "Listen, anybody who lose 15 games in a row, I don't want to hear nothing from you because you don't know what the hell going on. So everything I tell you to do, you better do it. And I promise you, if you do what I tell you to do, we're going to end up to be champions." And we believed that. I mean, that was the first thing he said. And we was like, I knew what it took because I've done it high school, little league, college. And so when John Fox, Foxy stood up there and told us that, I said, man, we got our guy. We're going to be fine. And we went through the hardest training camps known to man those 2 years to build that Super Bowl run, that team that we had. And of course, you got to, get a Jake Delhomme to come in and kind of surprise everybody. And really, in practice, Jake was a normal guy. You get him in a football game, he becomes Superman. And it was just unbelievable. Everything fit, and they did a great job of building us to be the type of football team that can go to the Super Bowl 2 years later and to go to the NFC Championship game again 2 years after that Super Bowl run. So, it wasn't something that was kind of just lucky one time. We went to that mountaintop twice.
You did, and I know you guys fell a little short, but and some people may be surprised to hear this because you did have a decorated career with the Panthers. You never even made a Pro Bowl, but you're somebody that is widely considered a legend in the Carolina community. I told people, hey, I'm interviewing Coach Midturn. They're like, oh my God, I love him. You are beloved in that community, and not only that, but you, along with the group of guys you had, established a winning culture in Carolina. You set the foundation. You created a consistent winning culture that now Cam Newton and a lot of the other guys on the current Panthers squad are clearly benefiting from. What does that mean to you to be a part of this community and to be a guy that is truly one of the building blocks of the franchise?
Well, it means a lot. When you say, you go through a 10-year career, you play for one football team, you hold all the records when you leave, and all the things that we did, and not be able to, be voted to the Pro Bowl during those years. You was always first alternate, second alternate, but you never was that guy that got the first nod. That's something to be able to say that at the end of the day, it was really about building that championship winning program, mindset, culture, that you were just alluding to at the end of your comment. And I think that's what it's all about. That's what makes you feel good because you laid the foundation. You laid the foundation for other young men to come in like a Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Cam Newton, those guys to build upon and continue to be looked at throughout the nation. Because I remember when I first got there, nobody was looking at the Carolina Panthers as a national brand, okay? And so for us to be able to build that and help Carolina become a household name during the years that I was there, man, so it's just a blessing. I mean, we have some great people. I have some great players that I played with on defense, great guys on offense. I mean, Moose is really one of my, we kind of grew up together in the National Football League. He was drafted in 96. I'm drafted in 97. And so I kind of looked at him as the old head on the offense. And, I'm the old head on the defense that kind of helped build this whole foundation, man, the original Panthers. And so, it's always good to be part of that.
And at the time I'm interviewing you right now, there's a raging debate courtesy of a guy that you played against, Donovan McNabb, former quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe he got them to 5 NFC title games at one point. It might have been 4 or 5, as well as that one Super Bowl against the Patriots, which they narrowly lost. And I'm sure he's still having some nightmares about Thieves Avenue and Ricky Manning. and Donovan McNabb recently said that he belongs in the Hall of Fame. His numbers speak for himself. And he happened to compare himself to Troy Aikman. And while Troy Aikman does have those 3 Super Bowl rings with those Cowboys teams, the numbers are actually kind of comparable. So as a guy that actually played against Donovan McNabb in your career, do you think Donovan McNabb is a Hall of Famer?
No doubt. I think this guy took an organization that wasn't winning, and he brought it to prominence during the time that he was there. 4 or 5 NFC championship games, 1 Super Bowl appearance. Come on. It's a lot of quarterbacks that's in the Hall of Fame right now that did not win a Super Bowl, that had great numbers, that done unbelievable things for their organization, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl. And when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, you look at Donovan McNabb. That's who you think about. You don't think about nobody else. And so of course he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I thought he had a Hall of Fame career. To be judged against a Troy Aikman, forget the numbers. When you judge against other quarterbacks, it's about championships, right? It's not about how many yards you throw, how many completions, none of that. It's about championships. And so when you're going against other players, you gotta look at that, okay? But when you're looking at just his career alone by himself and what he did for the Philadelphia Eagles to help them become the organization they are today, come on, man. I mean, he's definitely a Hall of Fame quarterback, and hopefully he gets in there.
We have some fan questions, a little bit of a rapid fire format. You ready?
Yes, sir.
What was it like when you finally got to play as yourself in Madden?
I probably was disappointed in my rating.
Playing defense in today's NFL, do you think you'd enjoy playing defense more today or back in your era when you could actually hit guys?
Oh, more in my era. I was a thumper, man. I'm going to knock your head off and the play basketball on grass. I don't like that. That's not my game. So definitely I came up on the right time. God knew what he was doing with me.
Funniest player in the Panthers locker room?
Oh, wow. The funniest player, man. Ooh, that's a good one.
Or do you have like a funny story, or a funny prank that you're allowed to talk about?
Well, let me just say, I think the Reggie White was very, very funny. He was a guy that had us laughing all the time. Keyshawn Johnson was very funny when he came into our locker room. Okay, a guy that had a story for every single thing, and so those guys, even though they wasn't there long, I remember them as being some funny dudes.
Do you see Cam Newton staying with the Panthers the rest of his career?
Ooh, that's a good one. No.
Wow,
I don't think,
just because of free agency, or do you think, I mean, with
just
the injuries and everything?
yeah, because of free agency and from the simple fact that some guys play too long, right? So I think some guys just got to keep going, like Thomas Davis. I think he should have retired a Panther and let that last year go. And it's not as important as retiring as a Panther. So I think, in today's age, man, guys just want to keep playing. And hopefully he's the type of guy that can say he's done when it's time to say you're done. And if he can do that, which is not too many of us out there that can do that, if he can do that, then he will retire a Panther. If he can't do that and he want to go prove that he can continue to play, then he will not. And I think it's, most percentages say that he's going to continue to try to play and he's going to have to play for another team.
What does Cam Newton have to do other than obviously be healthy in order to get back to the MVP level?
Listen, I like the things that he's saying about what he's doing this offseason. Now, it's not necessarily particularly what he's doing. It's the fact that he's focused on every little thing in his life. And that's the key, okay, is that you focused on, and whatever you decide to do with it, you got a plan, you focused on it, and you executing the plan. That's what I like about what I hear. If he continues to do that, which means that he's probably watching more film, he's probably watching more of his mechanics and what he can get better at and so on and so forth, because it's about the details. It's not about anything else. Now, it's about the details when you get older. Now he can't, physically, he can't do what he was doing when he first got in the league, when we went to the Super Bowl that year. I think that was the peak of his physicality, okay? So now you got this, it's about details. It's about every little different thing, and hopefully he enjoyed the process, okay, the process of breaking every little things down and enjoying the monotony of just getting better every single day. And if he can do that, we'll be back in the Super Bowl.
What's the best piece of advice you could give anybody that is looking to get into pro sports? Let's just say somebody in college or in high school right now that is clearly talented, has the opportunity to go play some college ball. What's the best piece of advice you could give them if they want to have a career in the pros?
Listen, you gotta love football. And what do I mean by that? You gotta love when it's boring. You gotta love when it's tough. You gotta love the grind. You gotta love every single thing about being a football player. And in college, that means a student athlete. You got to go to class. You got to love that piece of it because everything is connected. And most people don't understand that every part of your life is connected to you going to that next level. If you're excellent in one area, be excellent in the other area, and it's all connected, and you'll get there. And so most people don't. They say they want the glitz and glamour, but they don't want to put in that work to go get it. And it sucks. It's hard, but it's worth it.
Well said, Coach. And actually, one more bonus question from me. A lot of people don't know this. You were also a running back, and you were a standout basketball player as well. If you had not become a safety, do you think you would have stayed as a running back, or do you think you would have pursued a career in basketball?
Oh, I would have been a running back. I love football. Like basketball in high school was something to do just to stay in shape, and it was a fun game to play. And so I was just competitive as heck in the basketball arena. But man, look, if I wasn't a safety, I would have been a running back. But I looked at it and I made a decision going to Nebraska. I looked at it and I said the longevity of running backs is not very long. So I'm gonna go on the defensive side of the ball so I can play a little bit longer. And that's the reason why I went on the defensive side of football.
Well, Coach Minter, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for catching up with us. You can follow him on Twitter at CU Coach Minter. Anywhere else we can find you? Any upcoming events, any upcoming appearances we should be on the lookout for?
No, sir, man. We getting ready for 2019 season. We kick off with Troy. We go down to Alabama to play that big time football program, and man, all our mind and attention is on Troy right now.
Excellent, Coach. Thanks so much.